The timelessness of life. My name is Nerav, and if I were to tell you how long I've been alive, I'd have to ask you about your concept of time. Hundreds of thousands of years have passed since my first arrival on this planet, but time, as I experience it, is unlike yours. My body does not age, nor does it feel the passing of days. I do not feel exhaustion. The only thing I truly experience is boredom. Before I arrived on this earth, I was one of many sent on a mission. A mission whose purpose was to acquire resources. Ultimately, it was the energy of this planet that became our primary force. The energy that pulsed through the veins of its inhabitants, the humans. The magic they unconsciously produced was the key to our immortality. When we arrived, we did not fully understand just how important this planet would become for us. But we quickly realized the first time I saw them, the humans, they were at the peak of their civilization. Their cities, like the magnificent pyramids, rose toward the sky. They knew how to control energy, how to manipulate matter in ways that now seem impossible. It seemed they were on the brink of discovering not only the mysteries of the cosmos, but the very foundation of reality itself. They were powerful. Too powerful. And that's when we came. At first, we didn't fight. We immobilized them in time, then began to harvest their energy. As an envoy, I was tasked with preparing them for this change. They had to understand that their power was a resource, and we needed to control it to maintain balance in our world. However, war was inevitable. They fought against us, against each other, but they couldn't win. We destroyed them, but not completely. We left them alive in this humiliating captivity. We had to provide them with peace so they could produce energy for us. And that became my job for centuries, to oversee, to ensure nothing disturbed the balance. Despite their weakness, they still managed to recall fragments of their lost power. And that's when trouble began, the first adventure. It was during the time when the pharaohs began building their first pyramids in Giza. The humans had started experimenting with energy in ways that weren't entirely understood, and I couldn't control it. It was then that I first discovered that their magic was more than just simple energy. They had begun to awaken something I referred to as the ancient deity, not understanding that it was not about religion, but about old, hidden mechanisms of power. I knew I had to stop them. To do so, I infiltrated their system, becoming one of them. I agreed to take on the form of a human and drew close to the pharaoh, whispering in his ear to trust no one. For years, I guided his decisions, ensuring the pyramids would be built, but never used to fully release the energy. Still, we couldn't stop them. And although the pyramids became instruments of control over time, I began to notice something I understood deep in my being, their indomitable will. Humans didn't give up. The second adventure. Centuries later, during the Middle Ages, I returned to Earth to adjust the energy system to the new conditions. Humanity was becoming more advanced, but still, they didn't understand what could happen if they ever regained their power. Despite my oversight, they began creating tools that could destroy our system. One night in England, during a great battle, I encountered a mysterious monk who possessed abilities to manipulate energy in ways that seemed impossible. I approached him and drew him into my game. I had him convince the king that his magic was nothing but an illusion. But something changed. I began to understand that human nature, this extraordinary ability to regenerate, to rise after falling, was their true power. And despite my effort, humanity was starting to carve their own paths through energy, though they were unaware of how to control it. The present day. Today, in this modern age, I still have my hand on the pulse. The others have long since begun to withdraw, leaving me as the sole overseer. Humans still don't know that their true power, that magic they once had, is still within them. And I don't know what to do. I feel like a prisoner of my own task. For millennia, I've been the guardian of this energy, but now, as I begin to see how humanity is drawing closer to the truth, I find myself wondering, what will happen when they discover their power? And do I still want to be part of this game?